former NHL player and coach and Cup champion Eddie Olczyk, who I got to say first, Eddie, and I apologize in advance for pumping your tires like the old Chris Farley bit here, but what a broadcast, what a series
Aces,
of broadcasts. Man. You guys should take a bow from Tirico and his role to, I thought Kenny Albert crushed it. You were phenomenal. You guys really added to the experience, so thank you.
Well, I appreciate that, Grant and Danny. Nice to be with you guys, and it was a complete privilege and honor to be able to bring that back to everybody here back home. I know in some parts of the country it was very early, 5 a.m. Out in out in the Pacific, but it was everything that I thought it could be and would be, and just a little history lesson here. I was lucky enough to play in the 1984 Olympics for Team USA over in Sarajevo, Yugoslavia. So I was a 12 turning 13-year-old young hockey player in 1980 watching the Miracle on Ice take place. And I didn't know how you made the Olympic team. I didn't know what it took. But I said in 1980, I want to do that when I'm an old guy. Like I wanted to do it when I was 20 or 24 or 28. And I got the opportunity to get an invitation to try out when I was 16 years of age. I made it and played as a 17-year-old. And I was bleeding red, white, and blue. I was sweating red, white, and blue over in Milan. And I know that there are young girls and young boys out there that were inspired by the men's and women's team in Italy. I know that that will have an effect at the grassroots level. And I think that's really where I think people should focus in on where the impact will be. Will it affect the NHL? Yes, it'll affect the NHL. I think it'll affect it in a positive way. But I just think that having been over there and been a part of the broadcast and been in Vancouver in 2010 and Sochi in 2014 with the best players in the world, and then again in Milan, I was sitting there as an alum, as a broadcaster, trying to play it right down the middle of the fairway. But I just want everybody to know that I was on the edge of my seat, just like everybody else, when it looked like the Canadians were going to take a 2 or 3 goal lead in the middle of that third period, when Connor Hellebuck made a few Hellebuck of a good saves in that third period. And next thing you know, Team USA is winning a gold medal. So I appreciate you guys having me on. It was a great experience, and I'm very proud to be a part of our NBC crew, because I thought we did a good job, and we should feel really good about the job we did. So thank you.
No, it was incredible.
Yep,
and all very well said. But I think the fact that you made no bones about the fact in non-game moments, and I think anyone with common sense would know, you wanted to see the United States of America come out and play well and win. But I love that you couldn't have told in your call, right? You acknowledged that they get away with the extra man on the ice, some of the things that were happening. But onto the game itself, what did you make of the lopsided nature of the game as it went on, and the fact that, like, as Caps fans, we've seen this in the playoffs sometimes, where you look at the shots or some of these discrepancy metrics. I remember one time telling Bruce Boudreau about the deserve to win a meter, and he wanted to kick me out of. He's like, I'm going to throw you so far, I don't know where you're going to land. But in the end, it was Team USA who made the plays, and Hellebuck standing on his head gets him a win.
Yeah, you have the great equalizer, I believe, in all professional sports when you get a goaltending performance like that. And let's make it perfectly clear. I mean, the Canadians missed a couple of unbelievable opportunities. Don't want to use the pun of golden opportunities because they didn't win, but you need that. You need, when you're not playing well, and when you think about the Canadians and Americans, they have players on each side that can really sway the momentum and turn the momentum and create chances. And when you have it, what do you do with it? Are you able to put a puck up on the board? Are you able to put up a crooked number? I thought the Americans came off and had a great start. And then all of a sudden, after the Matt Boldy goal, the first goal of the gold medal game, they started trying to be too pretty. They tried to, I used the phrase of passing the puck into the back of the net, looking backdoor, trying to make the tic-tac goal type of play. Austin Matthews, arguably, and I said on one of the broadcasts, I believe he will go down numbers-wise, is that he will go down as the greatest American-born goal scorer ever to play in the National Hockey League. He's already got 420 goals, and he's probably going to play another 10 years. You do the math, he's probably going to get up to about 800 goals in his career. He gets the puck right out in front of the net on the power play, and he just, I don't want to say he froze, but he got it. He couldn't believe how open he was, and he was like, I think there's a better play. Sometimes you got to be selfish, and that was the word I used when Team USA bypassed chances to shoot the puck. So what that did, I believe, is that the Canadians gained traction of the missed opportunities that the Americans, because I thought going into the game, full disclosure, I thought it would be a 5-3, 6-5 type of game. Now, after looking at it, you could argue the Canadians probably should have scored 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And the Americans, maybe in that 3 to 4 range, but that's not the point. The point is that the Canadians took advantage when the Americans couldn't finish off the chances that they got early. They hung around. They found their game. Their defensemen started playing better. And then the Americans had to hold on. And as I said, I believe with about 10 minutes left to go during our NBC broadcast, it wasn't about the Canadians taking the lead or whatever. It was about the U.S. just wants to get to overtime. Because they didn't have an answer. Then Jack Hughes takes the stick in the face. There's a 4-minute penalty. And then Hughes takes the penalty, and the penalty kills come up large on both sides. Nathan McKinnon misses a wide open net, and then they get to overtime, and we all know what happened. So, yeah, the Canadians probably deserve better. They were the better team for longer stretches without a doubt, but I do believe is that the Americans were able to hold on because of the goaltending and because of the perfect penalty kill, which was 100% perfect in the Olympic Games, and especially killing off the huge opportunity, that the Canadians had for $133, that 5-on-3 in the second period, and then the big penalty kill at the end of the game.
And it certainly wasn't 1980 in terms of the level of upset, right? I mean, that Russian team was the best team in the world, better than all the NHL teams, all-star teams, etc. How big of an upset was this? Try to quantify that for us.
That's a great question. I don't. Maybe north of the border, they feel like it's an upset because they were the favorites, and it's been a long time since Team USA has been able to take out our arch rival. We are not the Canadians' arch rival, and I guess in order to have a rivalry, both places, both teams, both countries have to win. A couple here, a couple there, and some sort of a number even, at least. 60-40 one way or vice versa. I wouldn't go to that extent that it was an upset, because I actually felt going into the final game is that the Americans were playing their best hockey, and the Canadians, quarterfinal and semifinal game, were trailing in both those games 2-0 in fact to the Finns, Team Finland, in the semifinal game. And they had to find a way to, get it to late in the game. Big goal by Nathan McKinnon on the power play, and then the game before they ended up winning in overtime against Czechia, who had them over a barrel, and they weren't able to take advantage. So they were the two best teams going in. When the so-called second favorite wins, it's an upset, but it's not obviously the proportion of what we saw in Lake Placid in 1980.
Eddie Olczyk on the broadcast Sunday morning. Almost 30 million Americans tuned in on NBC and Peacock to watch the game as Jack Hughes scored the game-winning goal in overtime. Absolutely incredible. And one of those remember where you are moments, where 30, 40 years from now, these guys are still going to be answering questions about playing in that game, just like the 1980 team, Eruzione and Craig and those guys do 46 years later. Edzo, I'm curious about, just diving into like the aftermath and some of the scenes. You guys did such an amazing job. Obviously, you're going to stay live. It's the Olympics. You're going to see the ceremony. But, they're taking the picture. They go get Goudreau's kids and bring them out. Yeah. I was sobbing at home. What was that like as a broadcaster, watching that, knowing when to hop in, sit it out? Yeah. I thought you guys played it perfectly, but, what did you make of just the whole scene and then your role in that moment?
Yeah, well, thank you for that. sometimes you're just better off to just watch and observe like everybody else. And you want to add a nugget here or there. And it was amazing to see the team and the players go into the crowd and grab, Johnny's kids and, pay respect to Johnny and Matthew's wives and the family, Mr. and Mrs. Gaudreau. And it just showed how important that part of their team was, not only last year at the Four Nations, but this year at the Olympics. No question Johnny Hockey would have been a member of Team USA if he was still with us. And I think his spirit was there. And when they brought his jersey out and they went into the crowd, it was just one of those moments where you from experience of doing TV a long time, you just let the pictures paint the words for everybody. And it was hard not to get emotional. I know I got emotional on how 1980 team impacted me on my life, as I told the story a little bit earlier, and how it inspired me, and knowing that it will inspire the next generation of hockey player to want to be a part of that and to see how awesome it is to represent our country and to be a proud American, regardless of the, whichever side of the aisle that you sit in and all that kind of stuff. Like I believe that this was organic. There's no other way to say it. When you see Olympic athletes and their reactions, I'd hope to think it is not calculated one iota. And I believe that the men and women, and congratulations to the women as well, it is organic. And I felt that everything that I saw, from the medal ceremony to the skating of the round to the excitement of that puck going into the net and the coaches hugging and the trainers, and then seeing the players make two different piles, and then there's one big pile, and there's about 8 different, it was beautiful. And you just learn over the years of being a part of television and working with the people at NBC or now NHL on TNT as I do, is just sometimes there's a time to just keep your mouth shut and let everybody just enjoy it. And when the time presents itself, you acknowledge it with a word or something like that, and then you get out of there and you let it breathe. And something just so proud to have been there as an American, as an alum of USA Hockey, and a broadcaster. It was just great theater and made it a lot better with the red, white, and blue winning. I'll tell you that it really did. But it felt good, and I think our whole crew feels very good about how we could have a hand in how it came across to everybody here back home.
Eddie, for years, and I'm a competitive person, so the losses are almost more painful. Not even almost; they're more painful than the highs of the win, right? So I still think about 2010 once every couple of months when Sidney Crosby just kind of flicked a puck back towards the net and it goes through Ryan Miller's legs, and my blood boils just thinking about that, because of course it was him. That little ninny does that and ruins my time. But the question ultimately is. And this is a totally different class of players, obviously, just so many different guys have come and gone throughout their careers. When do you feel like USA Hockey turned the corner? Because they were right there in overtime with Canada back then in 2010. When did it become like, this is reasonable that we could be here and go punch for punch, so to speak?
Yeah, I think I go back to the 96 World Cup of hockey, where in a best-of-3, Team USA was able to take down the best Canadians back then. But the best on best doesn't happen all the time. And you just, until you can continually win and be that team and that country, it's a battle in all levels. Like, we have really equaled, I should say equaled, we are now up there with the best hockey countries in the world, men and women. Now, in the women, it's different. It's Canada and U.S. and pretty much everybody else, but it is closing. The gap is closing. But in the men's, how would this tournament play out if the Russians were there? Like, think about the team, right? The grade 8 would be there. He'd be the captain. And just think about the players that could be there. But I would go back to that 96, and you sit there and go, hey, if we can beat them at their own game 2 out of 3, why can't we do this every year? And I believe that it kind of started in the belief of being able to do it back in the World Cup of Hockey in '96.
I'm just thinking about a possible Russian team right now, and it would be wild. You got Panarin and Malkin and Kucherov, and the list goes on and on around Ovechkin. They'd field a pretty good roster. Eddie Olczyk.
You'd have your goaltending would be pretty good too with the two guys in New York there, one on the island and one with the Rangers, and that would be pretty awesome to see, because then truly you would have the best hockey players in the world all there at the same time.
Yeah, you're not kidding. All right, we'll let you out on this. Eddie Olczyk is with us. A great job throughout the tournament on NBC, and what an incredible and indelible performance he got to call on Sunday. By the way, I want to mention too, Danny, the national junior team, 24 and 25, we won the junior championships in America.
Oh, hell yeah.
So we've got the boys, we got the girls, we got the young guys. I mean, this is a thing now that we're right here, as Eddie O was talking about. But last one for you, Eddie, is... we were talking a lot on the show. We're obviously Caps guys, and Tom Wilson was getting highlighted, and you guys were crushing on Wilson, which was great. You were loving what you were seeing from him. On the American side, was there someone in the tournament that all these guys back and front, you call the games all the time, but you feel like really helped themselves, or you go, wow, that's the best I've seen him, or man, that guy's better maybe than I thought, or maybe just the average people that aren't like you may have come away feeling that way?
Yeah. I do want to say, I thought, and full disclosure, it's out there. I thought Tom Wilson should have been on the Canadian team at the Four Nations, to be honest with you. I said it from day one, and and I'm glad he made the Olympic team, because he turned himself into a hell of an impactful hockey player, and I was happy to see him be there, and he performed very, very well. And we know that he plays on the line sometimes. He plays over the line sometimes, and I'm okay with that. But he proved that he is one of the best players in the world, and I'm happy for him to get that opportunity and perform at the highest stage. I think for Team USA, two guys for me, like I think I always knew how – let me start over. I knew Quinn Hughes was a hell of a hockey player. But I think he went to another level. Like, he is in that team picture with Cale Makar of the Colorado Avalanche, who's the best player, best defenseman in the NHL, in my opinion. But Quinn Hughes is just a different animal. He took me to places where I'm like, wow, just like this guy. The coach wants to take him off in overtime against Sweden after being out there for 2.5 minutes, and he's like, I got this. If that situation in hockey could play itself out, it would be like what happened with Max Scherzer, and I think John Schneider, is the manager. I'm sorry. I'm not. What's the manager of the Blue Jays?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, when he tried to go pull him.
Don't you dare come out to this mound. Yeah.
He went out to the mound, and it was like, turn your ass around. I'm not going anywhere. I got this. And when Quinn Hughes waved his arm at the coach, is like, no, you don't have to send anybody out here. I'm good for the next minute or so. I'll take a 3.5-minute shift, and we're going to win the game. Like, that to me was, that's legendary stuff in my opinion. And the other guy that played really well last year in the Four Nations, slow start, great finish, same this year at the Olympics. Slow start, great finish, was Dylan Larkin. He did everything. And in the face-off dot, I think he ended up like over 82% in the face-off dot at the Olympic competition. So Those are two guys that stick out for me. And Austin Matthews and Jack Eichel played 200-foot games, and I thought that they were the facilitators offensively and defensively for Team USA, and couldn't be happier for those guys. But I would say Quinn Hughes and Dylan Larkin were the two guys that probably stood out for me of going to another level that, I didn't know that was there, but when you do it at that time, now you expect it each and every night from those two players.
Eddie, on the small front, thank you for joining us and discussing this with us. On a much bigger level, thank you and congratulations for being part of the vehicle that will be an indelible memory for literally millions and millions of fans for the rest of their lives. It's really, really cool that you were able to help deliver that amazing moment to so many of us that brought so much joy to an entire country. So thank you, my friend.
Well, that's very nice of you guys. I'm a proud American and just proud to be and humbled to have been a part of an unbelievable team at NBC to bring it to all of our, to our fellow countrymen and hockey fans all around the world. So I look forward to 4 years from now and think about the team and who might be there and who might not. And there'll be plenty of time to do that. So thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it. And, oh, by the way, if you want to see me and Kenny Albert, you can watch us tomorrow night, second half of the doubleheader in L.A. The Golden Knights and the L.A. Kings will be there doing the game tomorrow night.
Awesome. We'll be watching.
That's great.
I don't know if Eichel's going to be back or not. They're still partying, but we'll see.
Yeah,
He'll make it by puck drop.
They're a little busy right now, but maybe they'll get dropped off by Air Force 1, 2, or 3, and they'll be able to make the game there. So thanks for having me, guys. And again, congratulations to the men and women of Team USA, the ultimate daily double, the double gold over in Milan, and it was really an honor to have been there on behalf of NBC.